to the EQ Fit podcast. Our mission is to equip people to prosper in every aspect of their life. Whether you're at home or in the workplace, we explore practical ways of improving success, satisfaction, finding balance, and building enjoyable and beneficial relationships. Thank you for joining us. This is the time of year that we start to focus on the new year to come. And for the next few months, I want to focus in on leaders and leadership. And whether you're an emerging leader or a seasoned leader, doesn't really matter. We're all leaders. My definition is we lead ourselves first, and then we lead other people. No matter what your position is, you are a leader of someone, even if that someone is only yourself. So for the next few months, I want to focus on leaders and the challenges that leaders face, because they are significant today. And it doesn't matter, again, if you're just leading yourself or whether you're leading a team of people or even an entire organization. These challenges will be very similar for all of us. Let's start with the challenge of navigating digital transformation. What do we do with all of the new technology that's out there? How do we integrate it? What do we do with it? And really, what is most important for the success of digital transformation is the hidden part of success, which is people. How will people accept and react to these changes? Because we can do the very best possible job of selecting new technologies, of putting the right things in place. But if our people are not ready for it, if they're not prepared for that change, for that transformation, if they're not willing and able and equipped to take that and leverage that, then you're spending a lot of money for very little return on investment. So let's talk about it. Digital transformation is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. Integrating digital technologies into every area of our businesses, whether it's sales or operations, fundamentally it changes how we operate, how we function, and how we deliver value to our customers. However, this transformation is not just about technology. It's about people, as I've said a minute ago. Understanding the human impact and then leveraging leadership skills, particularly emotional intelligence leadership skills, can significantly accelerate the journey towards successful digital transformation. So let me start with a story here that may sound familiar to you, but it hits me when I talk to people about data flow and the amount of information they're dealing with. There's a lot of discouragement. There's a lot of disappointment out there. By the way, if you're having those kinds of issues, if your information and data is not really giving you the insights that you need to make your best decisions, I've got a client I want to refer to you to, and I would be more than happy to share that referral with you, because they do an amazing job of making the complex simple and getting your information to do what it needs to do for you, and really leveraging the technologies. I love the fact that they're cloud agnostic. They don't care what cloud you're working in. They don't care what it is. Now, this is not a commercial for them, but it's a reality of you need a partner to walk through this, but you need a partner on both sides. You need a partner on the technical side of things, like my client, and you need a partner like me to help you and your people get ready for this type of transformation. Because digital transformation will only happen when you align everything. And everything means people as well. So let me share a story with you, and this is very recent. Someone asked me the other day, how rapidly information is increasing in our world. Well, I had heard some numbers in the past, but I wanted to check it out. Get ready for this. Here's the answer I got when I checked into this. The equivalent of over 833 trillion pages of text are generated every day. Can you believe that? 833 trillion pages of text are created every day. That's a lot of pages, and I certainly am not going to be one to read all of that. Here's the backstory to that question. I was speaking to the owner of a business who's trying to figure out what their IT needs are for next year. He was struggling to understand what new technology his business needed on top of what they already had. He was sure that if he could get the right mix or the right tech stack, then they as a company could excel in the year to come. And I love that, right? And as we were talking, I just kind of smiled at him, and he kind of gave me this look like, okay, what are you smiling about? And that's what he said. He said to me, what are you smiling about? Here's what I said to him. We get about the same information in one day that our grandparents got in 1 year. And I said to him, do you think our brains have evolved enough in 2 generations to manage all of that increased information flow? Well, he thought about it for a few seconds and said, no, but what does that have to do with our IT needs for the future? Well, essentially everything. At the end point of the data flow is a human being. No matter how good the information is, people will either leverage it or they will limit it, depending on their readiness to accept and utilize the new technology. That is why digital transformation and the technology piece of that is only a part of the equation. So a little spoiler alert for you here. If you want to maximize new technologies, you have to prepare people to be more change embracing, more resilient, more flexible, more innovative, and more adaptable. That is an entirely different upgrading process, or call it an upskilling process. It starts in the human brain, which is a complex environment that is dynamic. Here's the good news. There are specific action steps to do this successfully. Okay, if we're going to have a successful digital transformation, it has to start with understanding what it is we're talking about. It's a comprehensive overhaul of business processes, competencies, and models to fully leverage the opportunities of different digital technologies. Makes sense, right? Well, we cannot leave out of that the people factor, because again, at the end of these technologies is a human being. So if we only do the one side but don't do the other side, then things are out of alignment. So why is this important? Why should we do this? First, competitiveness. In an era where innovation is happening at lightning speed, we have to leverage new technologies to keep a competitive advantage. And if we don't do that, then we're at risk. We may become obsolete. The second thing as to why it's important to look at this is customer expectations. Because if other people are offering new technologies to their customers, but we're not doing that, that's a problem, right? Today's customers demand seamless, personalized digital experiences. I just dealt with this with a client just literally last week, where we talked through a new system they had put in place that had the opportunity for a client portal, but they had not put that into place. And we were looking for efficiencies, ways that they could make their operation more efficient. And I was working with them and I said, wait a minute. So many of the challenges and the time wasters I'm hearing from you could be solved with a client portal. Do you have that capability? Yes, we have that capability. Why haven't you put it into place? Well, we just haven't had the time. We didn't know if it was important. I'm not finding fault. I'm not judging anybody. What I'm saying is those technologies make a difference, especially on the customer side of things. The third thing as to why this is important is operational efficiency. And I just touched on that when I had that conversation with that client. There are a lot of operational efficiencies that can be gained if we understand what these technologies can do. Now, I know it's challenging. I know that just in the tech stack that I use, there are a lot of bells and whistles that I'm simply not using because I don't understand them that well. But I need to stop and take the time to understand those things better. Now, those are the reasons why digital transformation is important. And remember, we're focusing here on the challenge of the digital transformation process for leaders. Well, leaders, let me speak to you. And again, I believe everybody's a leader, even if you're just leading yourself. So we need to talk about the human impact of digital transformation. While the technological benefits are clear, there's no doubt about those, the human side of digital transformation presents significant challenges and opportunities both. So, yes, there are challenges, but there are also opportunities. Let me speak to leaders for just a minute. People who are actually leading a team or leading an organization. You are at the forefront of driving digital vision. Where are you going to take your technologies, your digital transformation in the future? You not only need to understand the technological aspects, but also manage the inherent resistance to change that comes with this kind of a shift. And there will be resistance to change, but let me give you some insight as somebody who has been working with people with psychometric assessments, with understanding what makes people tick for the last 40 years. That's my experience, is that last 40 years of working with people at a very deep level. People may show up resistant to change, but most of the time, it's because they don't understand the benefit of the change. If you can answer the why question for them, why should we make this change? Why is this change going to be better for me and for us? You will see the resistance diminish very rapidly. And this is an important aspect. This is why, with my partner, Dr. Chuck Coker, we have created the Life Thrive University. What is it? It is literally teaching people about people, personality types, habits, emotional intelligence, everything a leader needs to know to manage people at a very high level. And not just manage people, but lead people, inspire them, encourage them, give them the vision that will engage them at very high levels. If you don't understand something, it's very difficult to make it work for you or to make it work, period. Leadership, defined, is literally getting things done through other people. And if you don't understand how other people are motivated, how they like to work in their different personality styles, then you're at a disadvantage as a leader. So leaders, hear me when I say there's good news out there. You can learn to lead people more effectively, more efficiently, and frankly, with more inspiration than you ever have before through the different courses we offer, through different things that you can learn. And whether it's through our courses or somebody else's, or whether it's through books or whatever, leaders are learners. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about the next step here, the human dynamic, which is the impact on teams. Teams are required to adapt to new tools and workflows, which can be daunting at times. The learning curve associated with new technologies can lead to frustration. It can lead to decreased morale if they are not managed properly. Employees may feel overwhelmed, leading to reduced productivity and engagement. Can that be countered? Absolutely. But that's where your leadership skills come in. And then we have the impact on the organization. The organization as a whole may face disruptions during the implementation phase of new technologies. Existing processes are altered, the culture shifts toward more digital mindset. While these changes bring long-term benefits, the transition period can be kind of chaotic. Again, here's the good news. Yes, we need to switch to more of a digital mindset, but we can couple that with an emotional intelligence mindset that working together, it's almost like the emotional and the rational part of your brain working together to get your best outcomes. This is no different than that. We can have a digital mindset. We can also have a people mindset. We don't have to give up our people culture. We don't have to give up our focus on inspiration and encouragement and exhortation and engagement and all of those things that make for a great team, a highly effective and productive team. So how do we get there? Well, first, leaders need to be the ones to take the first steps, which means leveraging leadership skill development. To navigate these challenges effectively, leadership skill development is a critical success factor. Again, leaders are learners. They need to be growing and learning all the time. Not just what the new technologies can do and how to use those, but how to leverage those with other people, how to use leadership skills. So for instance, the first one, guess what it's going to be? It's going to be emotional intelligence. Why is that important? It's the science of people and emotions and getting things done. Every action, every decision is driven by emotional drivers. I don't care who you are. That's the way our brains work. Those emotional drivers may not be very visible to certain people, but they're there and they are driving decisions and actions and behavior. And if we as leaders want to get the best possible outcomes, we need to understand that. Emotional intelligence is that ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, but also those of other people. Now, you're not managing their emotions. You're managing the impact those emotions have on you, and you're helping them grow so they can manage their own emotions. There are some key skills of emotional intelligence, like navigating emotions, understanding emotional literacy. What is the emotion I'm having and what does it mean? What kind of patterns do I have? Recognizing patterns, another skill of emotional intelligence. Empathy, a critical skill set for leaders. All of those are key success factors for leaders to utilize when they're managing through change and leading through change. Empathy helps in easing the transition and reducing resistance. So we know that leaders with high emotional intelligence scores are 10 times more likely to have higher outcomes. That's a pretty good correlation. Another thing to think about as far as leadership skills here, communication skills. So use emotional intelligence leadership skills as the foundation, and then leverage that into greater and better communication skills. Clear and consistent communication is vital in any kind of transformation process. Leaders need to be able to articulate the vision of the digital transformation compellingly, explaining not just the what and how, but also the why. Here's another one: change management skills. Effective change management involves planning, implementing, and reinforcing change in a structured manner. Leaders that are skilled in change management can anticipate the challenges, engage stakeholders, and implement strategies that minimize disruption. There will be some disruption, but how much disruption there is going to directly correlate with how good your leadership skills are. The higher your leadership skill level, the lower the disruption level will be. I guarantee you that's the way it will work. We can accelerate getting the right solutions through emotional intelligence. So how does that work? Number one, build trust and be open and transparent with people. Leaders who exhibit empathy and understanding create a safe space for employees to express their concerns. This is critical if you're going to do a significant change initiative of any kind. This openness allows for addressing issues proactively rather than letting them fester. I would rather get to the root cause of a problem and solve it than be slapping Band-Aids on it every week and just trying to fix it so it works this week, and then the same thing happens next week. That's not good leadership, and we can do better than that. We can enhance team cohesion by recognizing the emotions of our team members and practicing empathy. And remember, empathy is understanding the feelings and perspectives of others. It's not compromising, it's not giving in, it's taking their feelings and perspectives into account when you make your decisions. And there may be times that changes your decisions and your actions, and there may be times when it doesn't, and that's okay. But empathetic leaders are far more likely to build trust and build cohesion in their team. And then motivating and inspiring people. Emotionally intelligent leaders can tap into what motivates their employees. They can align individual goals with organizational objectives. This alignment increases engagement and commitment to the transformation process. And engagement and commitment is critical if you're going to have a successful digital transformation. I always like to close out these episodes with very practical things you can do, because what good does it do to have the theory without being able to put it into practice? That's what this is all about now. What are specific solutions and action steps that we can take as leaders in a digital transformation? Well, number one, invest in employee training. First, upskill staff. Provide comprehensive training programs to equip employees with the necessary skills to handle the new technologies. The worst thing you can do is invest in this expensive new technology and then not train your people in how to deal with it, how to use it, how to utilize it. So this kind of investment shows commitment to their professional growth, and it alleviates fears about obsolescence. And I think that's an important point I want to spend a moment on. When you bring in a new technology, most employees will consider at some point, is this going to replace something that I do? And what most employees don't understand is that, will it bring efficiencies? Yeah, I hope so. Why would we invest in it if it's not going to be more efficient? But the point is not to replace people. The point is to make them more productive through these new technologies. Will there be times when positions will be replaced because of new technology? Sure, that does happen. But by training people and getting them up to speed on these new technologies, you actually increase your internal value of your employees because they are now being upskilled. This is an important thing to communicate as a leader. That people may have uncertainty or concern, alleviate that. Let them know this is a process which we're investing in you to give you better technology so you can be more productive and you can benefit from that. And be honest and authentic about that. If it's a technology that's going to replace people, be honest about that. But that is rarely the case. Most of the time, in my experience, when you put new technologies in place, you have to increase the employee count to manage it. It just seems like that always happens. So what can you do in upskilling staff? Number one, conduct skills assessment. First, understand where they are and where the gaps are. Then, implement continuous learning. Encourage a culture of ongoing development. Give them access to online courses, to workshops, to seminars, even to coaching. I've seen coaching, like what I do, help many people, not just leaders, but also employees, to be more productive and more effective, and really to think at higher levels and be more adaptive in their thinking, more innovative. And include emotional intelligence development in your employee development. Assess and develop emotional intelligence in everyone because it has multiple benefits. It enhances motivation, teamwork, execution, managing change, and trust. These are critical success factors to team success and to individual success. So what's another solution here that we can put in place? Another set of action steps. Communicate clearly and consistently throughout the process. Share the transformation roadmap. I mean, why not? Why not let people know the journey and the destination? Regularly update all stakeholders on progress, on setbacks, and on next steps. Be transparent because that reduces uncertainty and it builds confidence in you as a leader. What can you do action step-wise here? Develop a communication plan. It's funny. When you go into a change process and people ask me, okay, what do I need to do if we're going to make this major change? And I say, basically communicate 10 times more than you usually do. Of course, they look at me like, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? But the reality is that communication is critical because it keeps people informed and it helps them know, are you hitting mile markers? Also, use multiple channels of communication. You can use emails, you can use meetings. You don't rely on just one channel of communication. And then the third major area here is lead by example. Adopt digital tools personally. Don't be that person, that leader that says, oh, just do it because I've told you to do it, but I don't know how to do it. I mean, experience it for yourself. Why? Number one, you're going to have an idea of the same challenges that they're going through. Number two, they're going to see that you're doing that, and they're going to buy in at a higher level because of that. When leaders actively use and endorse new technologies, it encourages the team to follow suit. It demonstrates commitment and it reduces the perceived risk associated with change. Hey, it's okay if you struggle with it. You don't have to have all the answers. As a matter of fact, some of the best leaders I know struggle through these changes with their people and build stronger bonds of trust because of that. Action steps: showcase success stories. Share personal experiences and benefits gained by using these new tools, and be accessible to people. Use digital platforms to increase visibility and approachability. So we're engaging stakeholders at all levels. We engage employees at all levels because it fosters a sense of ownership and it reduces resistance. Remember, this is a change process that we're in. There is automatically going to be some level of resistance. Minimizing that resistance is going to reduce the amount of runway needed to get this thing up in the air successfully, which is exactly what we want. How do we do that? We have to get higher engagement levels from our people. And that means building trust. It means more motivation. It means more communication. It's all of those things that are embedded in the key areas of emotional intelligence that we can leverage as leaders to get everybody on board and aligned, which is what we want. What kind of action steps here? Well, form cross-functional teams. Include representatives from different departments to provide diverse perspectives and also solicit feedback. I cannot express strongly enough how critical a culture of feedback is. Create mechanisms for employees to voice their opinions and suggestions without fear of judgment or disciplinary action of any kind. You've got to get that psychological safety in place. If you can do that as a leader, you are going to be light years ahead of your competition. I guarantee it. And then monitor progress as you go and adjust as you need to. Digital transformation is an ongoing process. It's a journey. It's not a destination. It requires regular monitoring and flexibility. Some action steps here. Set clear metrics. Define what success looks like with measurable indicators. Number 2, do regular reviews. Schedule periodic assessments or reviews to evaluate progress and then make the necessary adjustments. And number 3, definitely celebrate the milestones. Recognize achievements along the way to maintain momentum and morale. Let's draw this to a close and focus in on this whole process. Navigating digital transformation is as much about managing people as it is about implementing new technologies. Leaders equipped with emotional intelligence can significantly ease the transition, which fosters an environment where employees feel valued and they feel motivated. 2 things you've got to have if you're going to have a successful digital transformation. When you invest in your own leadership skill development, not only does your organization immediately become more efficient and more successful, your digital transformation process is going to be more successful. The amount of resistance will be reduced. The speed at integration will be increased. Embracing the human side of digital change ensures that technology serves as a tool for empowerment rather than a source of anxiety. Through empathy, clear communication, and leading by example, leaders can guide their teams confidently into the digital future. I've got a great story. I'm already kind of at the length that I like these episodes to be, but let me share this with you. To make a long story short, I was brought in to consult when a new CRM system was put in place for an organization, very large organization. And I went in, I looked at it. Basically what was happening was the salespeople, anybody involved in sales, used to spend about 30 to 45 minutes a day working in the CRM system. The brand new system, 3 to 3.5 hours a day, these salespeople were spending in the new CRM system because of the robustness of it and the demands put down on them by upper management. And when I reported to the board about the problem, basically I looked them in the eye and said, the problem is you. Of course, they weren't real happy with that, but I said, let me explain. You wanted all of this insight into what's going on in the field, and you built all of these bells and whistles and all of that into this new CRM system, and you're demanding all of these things from your people every single day. I said, do you want them spending 30 minutes a day or 3.5 hours a day in the CRM system? Because their sales were declining and they couldn't figure out why. Well, guess what? They got rid of that system and went back to the old system. Sales increased immediately. People were happier, more engaged. What am I saying here? Don't discount new technologies. That's fine. Implement new technologies, but do it in a smart way with people in mind. Because if you do it just from a logical perspective, or especially from a very skewed perspective of what I want as an executive out of all of this, you really run the risk of running the ship aground. So be thoughtful of people as you introduce new technologies. I hope that's helpful. Thank you for joining us for this episode. If you have any questions about this week's episode, or maybe a suggestion for future episodes you'd like us to explore, please contact us through our website at eqfit.org. For more information and inspiration, connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at EQFit.